The fight for transparency, okay? Get off this little green men BS. That's not what it's about, all right? The government is spending millions of dollars using valuable resources to look for what? To study what? That's the question. Senator Chuck Schumer wanted to create an official government panel that would disclose everything the government knows about UAPs or UFOs. But he says someone stood in his way. Who and what? Listen.
The United States government has gathered a great deal of information about UAPs over many decades, but has refused to share it with the American people. That is wrong, and additionally, it breeds mistrust. It is really an outrage the House didn't work with us on adopting our proposal for a review board. Now it means that declassification of UAP records will be largely up to the same entities that have blocked, obfuscated their disclosure for decades.
You'll have 100 hearings to look for proof of a crime that you hope was committed by the president and his kid, but you won't push government to tell us what it's already spending our money on when it comes to looking for these UAPs. Does that make any sense? I hope not. Let's bring in NewsNation special correspondent and investigative journalist Ross Coulthart. It's good to see you, brother. What does this mean in terms of the trail to transparency?
Look, I think what Senator Schumer has said is heartening for the simple fact, Chris, that it means that he's not giving up. He stated that he wants to still try to get the presidential UAP records review board up, and he's not going to go down without a fight. I liked particularly something else he said, where he basically acknowledged, quote, we've also been notified by multiple credible sources that information on UAPs has been withheld from Congress, which, if true, is a violation of the laws requiring full notification to the legislative branch. And that's a very significant admission by the Senate Majority Leader. It indicates that the Congress is starting to get the bit between their teeth. They've realised there's an oversight and transparency failure here, and they're going to demand answers.
And he's working with a Republican senator on this. They had a colloquy, which is a fancy word for a discussion on the Senate floor about it. And it was nice to hear them from different parties complimenting each other because they had a shared goal. Now, that takes me to the cynical question. The House doesn't want to do this. It's Republicans in the House, it's Democrats in the House, whatever. It's the House. Is it because, in the current state of play, Ross, if you can't find an angle of advantage that makes the other party look worse, you ignore it? And this issue, even though it joins left and right, Americans are all on the same page. 3 out of 4 of us want to know more about what they know. There's no advantage for the House players, so they ignore it. And that's going to be the result. Nothing will get done.
Well, I certainly hope that's not the case, Chris, because I have heard that some Republican senators have speculated that the reason why their colleagues in the House resisted the UAP Disclosure Act was because they didn't want to give the president a win. Because if that act had gone into legislation as it was, it would have meant that around about October next year, the president would have been in a position to give the public a greater degree of information than ever before in history about the phenomenon of UAPs, because there would have been a declassification board doing its assessment. But I just want to be positive for a moment, because there are a few things that have gone through in the legislation into the National Defence Authorisation Act that I think are actually really positive. I don't think it's all negative. Yes, we've put the foxes in charge of the henhouse in terms of who makes the decision to reveal UAP files, but at least they're going to be put across into the National Archives, where the idea is that those files will be released to the public.
Well, here's the problem, Ross. Self-reporting. Okay, and what I liked about the congressional mechanism, because look, they haven't been telling us things, so we already know. They just classify more and more information. You're right to be positive. You have helped with your reporting create this path that really was nowhere even a year or two ago. So let's keep pushing and hope things get better. It's just sad that it's about who gets a win. They could all win in this. The American people want it. Work together. It may become contagious. Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.